Have you ever looked at your phone, just waiting for her message? You text her first. You ask how she's doing. You tell her you miss her. You give her compliments. You even say, "I'll always be here for you." But guess what she does? She leaves you on read, or replies hours later with just one word. "Cool, thanks." Okay. And suddenly, your heart feels heavy. You start asking, why is she pulling away? I thought I was doing everything right. But here's the part no one teaches you. Sometimes doing too much is what pushes her away. Yes, you heard that right. Being too kind, too available, too eager can make her lose interest. It's not because you're not good enough. It's not because you're not attractive. It's because you made yourself too easy to reach, too safe, too predictable. You were always there, always ready, always giving. You made her your top focus. And she didn't have to do anything to keep you. She didn't even have to try. Now here's the truth, and it might sting a little. We don't value what we don't work for. Think about it. When you get something for free, do you treasure it the same way as something you earned? Probably not. Because what's always there feels less special. She didn't feel the need to chase you because you were already chasing her. She didn't miss you because you never gave her the chance to. And now you're left confused, lost, maybe even hurt. But here's the power most men don't know about. When you finally stop trying to impress her, she starts noticing you again. It sounds crazy, right? But the moment you stop checking her stories, the moment you stop replying right away, the moment you stop giving your energy to someone who doesn't return it, you take your power back. You stop being the one who waits. You stop being the one who chases, and you become mysterious, strong, calm, stoic. She feels the shift, even in silence. She notices your absence, and slowly she starts to wonder, why isn't he chasing anymore? Is he moving on? Did he lose interest in me? And that's when it happens. She texts first. She starts liking your posts. She says she misses you. But you didn't do it to play games. You didn't act cold to get attention. You simply chose yourself. You chose peace over confusion. You chose value over begging. You chose to stop chasing what won't chase back. And in that quiet decision, you became powerful. Nuts. She can feel when you're emotionally hungry. What if I told you she can feel your neediness before you even speak? Yes, it's true. You could say all the right words. Wear your best clothes. Even smile like nothing's wrong. But deep inside, if you feel empty, weak, or desperate for her attention, she feels it. Not because you said something wrong, but because energy doesn't lie. Women are emotional readers. They pick up on the small things, your silence, your stare, your tone, your timing. And when a man feels needy, like he has to win her back, like she's his last hope to feel wanted. She pulls away, not because she's cruel, not because she wants to hurt you, but because that energy doesn't feel strong. It feels heavy. It feels like pressure, like you're holding a mirror up to her and saying, "Please fix me. Please like me. Please choose me." But here's what most men don't realize. A woman isn't drawn to the man who needs her. She's drawn to the man who is okay without her. The man who has a mission. The man who moves forward with or without a text back. The man who loves but never begs. Why? Because that man feels light. He feels calm. He doesn't demand her love. He attracts it. His presence is peaceful, not needy. His silence is powerful, not passive. And when he's gone, she doesn't feel relief. She feels curious. Where did he go? Why isn't he reaching out? Has he found something better? And just like that, her mind starts chasing. Not because he played games, not because he pulled away on purpose, but because he no longer made her his source of emotional oxygen. He stopped chasing attention and started chasing purpose. She feels it when you make her your purpose. Have you ever held something so tight that it slipped right out of your hands? Like water. The more you squeeze, the faster it runs away. That's what happens when a man makes her his purpose. His everything. His whole day becomes about her replies, her moods, her attention. He checks his phone every 2 minutes. He stares at the screen like it holds his value. He waits for a hey like it's gold. But here's the painful truth. She feels it. She can tell when you're trying to win her. She can tell when you made her your goal instead of your own life. At first, she might enjoy the attention. It feels nice to be wanted. But slowly, it becomes too much. She starts to feel like you're chasing her more than chasing your dreams. And that makes you feel less rare. Because women don't want to be your reason to live. They want to join a life that already feels full. A life with depth. A life where you wake up with purpose, not panic. A life where you say, "My mission matters," with or without her reply. That's when something amazing happens. You start walking differently, thinking differently, speaking less, but with more power. And she sees it. She sees a man who's not explaining himself, not trying to prove he's good enough, not waiting like a puppy at the door. She sees a man living, not chasing. And suddenly, she starts to wonder, did I miss something great? Because your energy has changed. You're no longer chasing love. You're becoming love. And that's rare. That's powerful. That's stoic. Why your calm scares her more than your words. Ever noticed what happens when you stop reacting? When you go quiet instead of arguing? When you smile and say nothing instead of begging? It makes her pause. It makes her wonder, what just changed? Because here's the truth most men don't hear. Your silence speaks louder than your feelings. And your calm? That's your power. When a man stops over-explaining, when he stops trying to prove his worth, when he no longer rushes to fix things she's not even sure are broken, she feels it. She starts to feel something she didn't before. Respect. You see, in a world full of guys who cry, chase, and panic, the second a woman pulls away, the man who stays calm becomes the most unforgettable. Because he's not playing games. He's just rooted, solid like a mountain, still like deep water, quiet, but strong. That calm doesn't say, "I don't care about you." It says, "I care about myself more than your mood today." And that makes her wonder what else is going on in your mind. That calm becomes your aura. She starts to lean in closer because now she's curious. What are you thinking? Why aren't you chasing? Why didn't you break down when she pulled away? She expected noise, but got stillness. She expected reaction, but got peace. And peace is rare. That's what Stoic men understand. You don't fight for love with loud words. You attract love with your quiet strength. When you stop trying to impress, you become impressive. What if I told you the moment you stop trying to impress her is the moment she starts being impressed? Sounds strange, right? But it's true. Most guys are trying so hard to be liked. They buy things they can't afford, say things they don't mean, do things they don't enjoy, just to get a smile, a text, or her time. But you know what that shows? It shows she's more important than you. And deep down she feels it. She knows you're giving too much. She sees that you're trying too hard. And guess what? That's when she starts to lose interest. Because women aren't drawn to effort. They're drawn to energy. They don't want a man who's begging to be chosen. They want a man who's already chosen himself. The man who's not focused on impressing, but on expressing. He's not showing off. He's showing who he really is. Maybe he likes art. Maybe he builds things. Maybe he walks in silence and lets the wind speak for him. But whatever he does it for himself. And that's what women find powerful. Because now, she's not the goal. She's a guest in a world that already has purpose, beauty, and direction. She's not the prize. She's watching you be the prize. And she starts to wonder, what makes him so sure of himself? That's the twist. When you stop trying to impress her, you actually become unforgettable. Because you're no longer chasing love. You're living love. Love for your own life. So here's the question. Are you done chasing attention? Or do you want to become the man who naturally draws it in? If you're ready to find out how that works. The power of saying nothing at all. Have you ever noticed how quiet people make others wonder? What are they thinking? There's something powerful about silence. It's calm, it's strong, and it's mysterious. Most men try to fill silence with words. They explain too much. They talk too fast. They say things just to keep her attention. But here's the truth. The man who can sit quietly and say nothing owns the room. Why? Because he's not in a rush. He doesn't need to explain. He doesn't need to prove. He doesn't need to impress. His stillness says, I don't chase, I choose. That kind of man makes women feel something. She starts wondering, why isn't he chasing me like the others? Why isn't he texting me all day? Why does he seem so unbothered? That's how curiosity is born. And when a woman is curious, she gets pulled in. But if you're always talking, always reacting, always explaining, you become predictable. You become too easy to read. Silence is not cold. Silence is controlled. It shows you trust yourself enough not to react fast. It shows you're thinking, observing, and deciding. That's real power. And guess what? Women don't want to lead your emotions. They want to feel safe inside them. Your silence? It's not distance. It's depth. It's why needing her approval makes you invisible. Here's something crazy. The more you try to make her like you, the less she actually does. Weird, right? You hold doors, you send nice messages, you listen to her talk about her day. But somehow she pulls away. She texts less. She seems bored. She's not as excited. And inside, it hurts. You think, but I'm doing everything right. So why doesn't she care? Here's the truth. You're not a man anymore in her eyes. You're a helper. And women don't fall in love with helpers. They admire them, but they don't desire them. See, when a man tries hard to win her approval, he becomes too soft, too available, too safe. He loses that wild, calm, quiet energy. He loses the mystery. He stops being the storm and becomes the umbrella. But women are drawn to the storm, the kind that's powerful, still, and unbothered. Not angry, not loud, just deeply sure of himself. When you need her to like you, she knows. And that neediness makes you invisible. It tells her, he doesn't believe he's good enough. So why should I? But when you stop caring what she thinks, when you stay focused on your own life, your peace, your mission, you glow. You become rare. You become magnetic. She can feel the difference. Because now, you don't need her love. You choose it. That's the kind of man she remembers. That's the kind of man she chases. Why silence speaks louder than words. Ever notice this? The moment you go quiet, people start listening. It's strange, right? You stop chasing. You stop texting. You stop explaining yourself. And suddenly, she's curious. She starts wondering, where did he go? Why is he so calm? See, most guys talk too much when they feel ignored. They send long messages. Try to fix things. Try to explain their feelings. But the more words they use, the less powerful they look. Because here's a secret. Power isn't loud. Power is quiet. When a man says less, when he lets his actions do the talking, when he walks away without yelling or begging, he becomes unforgettable. Silence makes her think. It creates space. It makes her feel the weight of your absence. And in that silence, she starts remembering your calm, your presence, your energy. She starts missing it, not because you begged her to, but because you left a space that only you can fill. That's the power of a man who doesn't explain. He just moves. He observes. He adjusts. He doesn't try to make her feel bad. He just lets her feel what life is like without him. And that's when she starts to notice. Not your words, not your gifts, not your efforts, but your peaceful distance. She only values what she thinks she can lose. What if I told you the thing she wants most is the thing she's scared to lose? Yeah, sounds crazy, right? But listen closely. It's not your love. It's not your time. It's not your attention. It's your absence. Not the kind where you disappear to play games, but the kind where you're busy building something real. See, when you're always there, always saying yes, always waiting, she gets used to it. She feels like you'll never leave. And when something feels too safe, people stop treating it like it's valuable. That's how humans work. But when you stop being everywhere, when you stop making her the center of your life, when you disappear, not out of anger, but out of purpose, she feels it. She starts thinking, wait, maybe he doesn't need me like I thought. Maybe he actually has other things going on. Maybe I could lose him. That's when the game changes. Not because you're trying to scare her, not because you're playing tricks, but because you're finally living your life. And a man who can walk away, a man who can keep going, even when it hurts, a man who doesn't explain, doesn't beg, doesn't chase. He becomes the one she can't forget, because deep down she knows she can only respect what she knows she could lose. So let me ask you this. Are you willing to let her feel your absence so she finally feels your worth? If yes, the final stage will leave you with the final truth you've been waiting for. Want to see it? Stop. The man who doesn't need her becomes the one she wants most. Here's a secret no one tells you. The man who is truly free, the one who doesn't need her love, her approval, or her texts, is the man she wants the most. Wait, how can that be? You'd think caring more would win her heart, right? But no. It's the opposite. When a man can stand alone, when he can sit in silence, when he can walk away without turning back, that man becomes rare. Not because he's trying to be cold, not because he's trying to be mean, but because he has something stronger than charm. He has peace. He has a life full of purpose. He has dreams he's chasing. He has a heart that doesn't beg, but beats with quiet power. And guess what? She feels it. She sees it in the way he moves. She hears it in what he doesn't say. He doesn't need her. And that's what makes her want him. Because when a man can walk away with no fear, when he doesn't explain himself, when he lives like his soul is full, with or without her. She starts to question her own worth to him. And deep down, that mystery, it's louder than any words. It's stronger than any compliment. It's more attractive than any good looks. It makes her wonder, did I lose something I didn't even understand? So now it's your turn. Will you keep chasing? Keep explaining? Keep giving all of you to someone who only gives half? Or will you step into your power, calm, quiet, complete, and let her feel the weight of your absence? Because the moment you stop caring is the moment she finally starts. This is not about games. This is about greatness. And brother, you were born for it.